displaying at all. So literally I was going to jump on here today. I need to get ahead a little bit on my tiger after doing the session on Friday. I seem to be behind quite a lot of people, so I just need to do a bit of work to try and catch up. This just doesn't seem to be doing very much. It's fine, okay, so as long as you can hear me talking, because on my screen it's not showing anything, which isn't great. It's just a frozen screen, so there we go. Let's see. So what I'm going to do is literally just going to talk as I work on my tiger. Like I say, I worked on this on Friday. There's a whole package with line drawing, your reference photo, materials list, and then we did an hour-and-a-half session over on Derwent's YouTube channel on Friday, and you can catch up if you want to, and then I'm going to do another session this coming Friday for a couple of hours, and that'll be out on my own YouTube, so I'll be popping the links and everything up this week. So any questions you've got today? It was just too hot for me out in the garden, so I just decided to come in here and spend an hour in the studio instead. So all I'm going to do is just carry on. What we were using is Derwent Pro colours, and we're using a Derwent Drawing Chinese white for the brighter of the whites. Like I say, you can catch up over on YouTube. I'll put the links in the comments of the video at the end today. But I just thought, well, whilst I'm drawing, I might as well be chatting as well, and if anybody's got any questions then they can just pop them in, and I'll just spend an hour or so just here drawing. So this is the tiger that we're doing. It's great because it's really dramatic. It's got lovely bright highlights over here on the right hand side, and then it comes down into much more into the shadows here. So what I was teaching on Friday was about the negative space, not just the white lines, or, you know, if we're going to make it quite crude, the white stripes, if we're not just focusing on those, but focusing on the negative space, which is the black areas that we don't put anything down on. And it's just as much about making those shapes correct and lining up as it is the white shapes, which is the obvious places to put our pencil. Maybe some dogs barking today. I have no one here. Hubby's at work, so I have no one here at the moment just to keep the dogs settled. So they may bark. Hopefully there's no post today, so they may be quiet. But if any of them bark, it's going to be Sherlock. So all I'm doing now is I want to pop in and map in all of the rest of my stripes, because I've got them marked in with a line drawing, but at the moment I need to get a good glaze of my Pro colour down. So I'm flicking my eyes too. I'll pop it up so you can see me as well as I'm working. I'll warn you, I've got no makeup on today. Let's have a look. 2 in 1. There we go. So now you can see me in the studio as well, hopefully, when it pops up on the screen and catches up. So what I want to do, like I say, is just map in all of my extra stripes. So you should see me now on the camera. There's a delay on this coming through, about, I'd say about a 30-second delay of me talking and being on, or till I come up on your screen. So I'm just putting down a glaze here, a really light pressure, holding my pencil about a third to halfway up, just resting it on my paper. I'm just using, this is just mount board here that I'm using. But we'll say we're doing another in-depth session on Friday for a couple of hours. When we finished last Friday, a couple of days ago, everyone started posting their pictures up, and because I did another little short demonstration at the end of the session, quite a few people are ahead. Some people have carried on working, so they've got quite a way ahead. So I just need to catch up. So I start by literally putting down a glaze, a really light glaze of the Pro colour, and that way it's going to map in my stripes so I don't get lost. And then brighten it all up, the brightest areas, with our Derwent Drawing Chinese white. And then we do all the transitions using our black, and anything we need to soften back, if we take it too bright, we just come in and we soften back with our black. And that creates the lovely soft greys in between our stripes. Just say any questions today about anything. It doesn't even have to be about pencils. You found the comments at last. Thanks, Harry. Yeah, I'm just going to catch up with you pretty much, Harry. I need to map in all my stripes just so I've got it all in place. And that way, it's a case of just coming in, hopefully, on the next formal session to brighten and darken. But I noticed, yeah, you've managed to map yours in all over already as well, which is what I wanted to do. I just didn't want to rush ahead on Friday's live session, because I get really conscious that there could be absolute beginners following along, and if I rush ahead, it's not fair. So I try to work at what I think might be the slowest pace out there, but then I appreciate that a lot of you guys, especially those of you that regularly do draw-alongs with me, have probably already gotten ahead. I was just saying, Harry, at the start of this, if you were here, Facebook have changed the way that the live stream is set up and goes out. So for me, it's looking completely different here on the screen. Normally, I'd be looking at my Facebook page exactly like you guys and seeing exactly the same. But it's all different. It's on a completely different setup, which is good, but it'd be nice to know this before when they make a change. Typical Facebook. Always trying to break and then refix what wasn't broken in the first place. Okay, so I need to find my next stripe. It's coming down here. And this is the great thing as well about this is, as I was saying to the guys on Friday, you can just self-correct. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit wrong, because you can just self-correct. So if you need to overspill your white into the black recesses, the black stripe area, and same, you need to then spill your black into your white stripes. And that way you can get lovely smooth transitions between the two. This is just a really nice method. If you're struggling and feeling a little bit overwhelmed with a piece, this really helps, because you can just simplify things up, strip away all the colour. Literally, you're down to 3 pencils, and it takes away all that overwhelming feeling of, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, all those colours to choose from. This just simplifies things down so much. It's really refreshing, and it's great if either you're a beginner or even if you're more advanced and just feeling like you need a little bit of a break. It's a quick project to do, relatively quick. This one's a little bit more in-depth because it's a little bit more complicated. Right, so that stripe comes down there, into there. So you should be able to see me flicking my eyes back and forth. So I'm just mapping this in, that comes around. I've got a nice little shape in there. Another little shape in there. You've got the reference photo up on the screen as well. But just by getting this all mapped in, it's really just going to help me as well with the next live session. And I thought, whilst I'm doing it, rather than hiding away, let me just put it out on film for everyone. Okay, I see a few of you over there watching now. Please do say hello if you want to. Let me know where you're watching from as well. Sorry there wasn't much warning with this, but it was a case of it was way too hot in the garden. And it was lovely and cool in my studio. So I thought, why not just come inside for an hour? So I'm trying to keep, even though I'm just doing a glaze here, I'm trying to keep all of my pencil action going in the direction of the fur itself. So really just keep an eye on the angle as your fur comes down. One thing someone did pick up on the other day that I demonstrated and they said was something they hadn't picked up on before, even though they've been on a workshop with me, is angles. So like with your fur direction there, I'll just bring this across. That should be in sight for you. I'm just waiting for the screen to catch up. So here with the fur direction, you can just lay your pencil down to get the direction of your fur and then move it across and make sure that your pencils are going in the same direction. And then as you come down here, that direction is going to start. See, up here it's almost horizontal. As you come down, it starts to change. And as you get down here, it's at this angle here. So you just want to make sure that your pencil strokes are coming down at the correct angle. So it's all about the length, the direction, and the angle of it coming away. And that's what helps form all that beautiful roundedness of the form of the tiger's head. I'm hoping that these comments are... Oh, it looks like it's not scrolling, so some of you will have commented, hi Penny, hi Eileen. It wasn't scrolling, it looks like I have to scroll for myself and keeping up. Hi Frank and Bob, fab. Nice to see a few of you. I thought I was talking to myself then. I thought, oh my goodness. So yeah, just a quick session. And any of you that were there on Friday that might be joining next Friday, again, you can just go ahead and do this just as well. I'm going to post out information, the link for the next live session. I'll pop it out tomorrow, I'll get the event created. And then anyone that's missed, I'll put the link up for this video as well so anyone can catch up. But this will just mean that it gets us ahead and gives us a chance that we might even get close to the finish on Friday. We might not completely finish, but it would be good to get there. Colour pencils are slow, but this is a much quicker method. So again, if you're getting frustrated by things taking too long as well, this is a really good little method to have a play with, really, because you can get something finished quite quickly. Okay, I'm going to save the nose, so let me just bring my board across a little bit. Yeah, Sherry, you can use a straight edge. Hi Sonal, and Lizelle, hello you. Seth, fab. Looks like the comments are keeping up now. Right, I'm going to do my stripes across the top of the head now. As you can see on the reference photo as well, I've got my reference photo printed out on a matte photo finish, and it's the same size as my actual drawing. I just find it really helps to have your reference the same size, because you can match things up then quite well. So I'm just going to work across the top of the head now as well, just so all I'm doing is just mapping this in. I'm going to save the nose area because we're going to be using a stylus on that to deboss and indent that area. And what I should have done as well, another good thing that I haven't done that I should have done, was I should have put some tape down all the way around just to square off or make a rectangle. So I've got an edge to work up to. At the moment I'm kind of spilling over. I don't know where my exact edge is, and I should have mapped that in. I can see I've marked it there. Trying to see if I've got a ruler to hand. I can't see one. Straight edge. Oops, I've got a straight edge there. Let me just see if I can mark in top there. And that's my edge. I can see the corner there. That's fine. Okay, so if you map that in, get a nice edge, you know you're working up to it. Otherwise, you start spilling over the top edge, and you don't know where you're working up to, and you're wasting your pencil, your time layering then in an area that's not even part of the finish. Speed is spot on. Many people like to work methodically. Yeah, I know, Eileen. I'm never quite sure. Hi, Susan. But I think if I'm working quite slow and I'm talking, then you guys should be able to keep up. Normally, let's say if I am working, I'm quite a fast worker when I'm on my own, but when I'm creating the tutorials, I try and slow things down, and I also try and work quite logically in the tutorials, which I'm not a very logical worker. If I'm working naturally, I tend to dart all over, but I find then it completely confuses people. Oh, Eileen, you've already jumped in there. Thank you. I should have you in as a moderator on here. Yeah, I'm using the Pro Colour from Derwent, because this is part of a Derwent workshop that I did for them on Friday, and then I'm just bumping up the bright whiteness with the Derwent drawing. But if people were doing this with Light Fast on Friday, with Colour Soft, watercolour pencils. As long as you've got a black pencil and a white pencil, you can do this project. And I say it's on a smooth surface. This is on mount board. And all I'm doing today is, like I say, I want to try and get ahead for the next session. The next session, which will be free, and it'll go out on Friday on my YouTube. So I'll be posting the link out on here and creating an event. And all I'm doing is just, I want to get this glazed in, mapped in all of my stripes. And I know that some of you have already done this. So I'm just keeping an eye. My eyes are flicking back and forth to that reference photo all the time. And that is one of the key things with your work. Any work, not just colour pencil work, any artwork that you do, is keep an eye on that reference photo. So I'm looking up here, and okay, even I've got myself a little bit lost there with my lines. So let's come back to an area that I know is correct, this one here. And let's just continue this stripe up here. I'm mapping it in quite rough because, like I say, I can correct with my pencils. I don't need to use an eraser. I can just self-correct. That's fine. So that one just comes around there. And then this one comes around here. And it doesn't really matter. But people are saying about, you know, getting lost with your stripes, losing your way. It doesn't matter too much. No one's going to see the reference photo. Don't worry about it. If it's a commission piece and it's got to look exact to the dog for your client, or cat or horse, of course it matters then. But you're still going with, it's got to be your artwork, and it's got to be your interpretation. I don't go for pure realism. I go for the effect of the fur and a likeness and character in my style. So I'm not going to panic too much. I know everything's kind of in the right place. This first round, I'm mapping it in roughly, loosely, about as loose as I get with colour pencils, and then we tighten it all up with our next layers. So let me just come down a little bit again now. A little bit further. Let's move my reference down a little bit more. Okay. So let's come down around. I'm on a tiny drawing board here today. I'm usually on a big A1 size board, so this is on a little A3 board. So I have to move everything around a little bit more, and to keep it in camera shot as well. Hi Susan and Kathy and Marie. Yeah, I need to pop over into our private little group as well and catch up with everybody's. I haven't. It's a nightmare me trying to type on my phone, because you just get autocorrect kicking in, and I end up saying complete gobbledygook, especially if I haven't got my glasses on to see what it's correcting. Or it's not even correcting, it's changing my words into things that I didn't want to say. I've realised that my new phone is it just talks rubbish all the time. Okay. I'm really tempted to come in and start brightening some of these, but that wasn't my intention today. So if any of you want to see how we created this first area, part of the area, and just jump onto Derwent Pencil's YouTube channel, and the video was up on Friday. And then if you want to carry on with the project, join me this coming Friday. You don't even have to join in on the project. If you just want to watch, yeah, just join me over on my YouTube this coming Friday. Or you can watch it on catch-up, obviously, if it doesn't suit your time. It's probably going to be at like 2 o'clock on Friday. I need to just double check what time I can get online. So up here I'm putting down more white pencil. I'm just doing this little bit here. So I'm putting down more white pencil there than I need, just to map that in. But I want to put it in just as a solid block for now. We'll break it up. I don't think of it as fur texture. Shapes, lines, angles, then we'll go for tone, and then we'll go for texture at the end. So all you're doing is we're just drawing shapes, and then we're making all the shapes meet up, and then we'll go in and adjust the tonal values, then we'll add some texture, and then you'll step away and hey, magic, a tiger will appear. But don't, sort of, if you panic about that you're drawing an animal and fur texture and you're going, I can't do this, your phone makes its own jokes. Oh yeah, it's so funny, isn't it? It's just, I find, Elaine, I'm so nervous. I won't reply to emails like, from business and companies and clients and students or anything now, because it just said talks gobbledygook and it just doesn't make sense. My phone constantly posts that I'm walking the digs. I haven't got digs. I've had dogs for years. It knows I've got dogs. Why am I always walking the digs? But anyway, that's by the by. Right, I need to try and move along a little bit more so that I've got this in focus for you. So I'm just using my little visual edge board today as well, which is magnetic, so I'm just moving my magnets around as well. Now, how far has that moved across on the screen? I'm just waiting for it to catch up so I know how far across I can come. So it's about, oh, that's quite good actually. I've managed to come across to here. So you'll see here now how much this fades away to grey. So even here, where this has come up too light now, that's fine, because what I mean by self-correcting is when we come in for our next layers, I will come in here. I'm hoping this is going to show up on screen, and I will start to soften this black. Sorry, soften this back, or I call it knocking it back with my black. And that will just help to create the effect of the transition from the light into the dark, into the shadows. So what it will do is give us a real subtle light hint of that fur being there. So that hopefully will show on your screen. That I've softened that just with a light glaze, a couple of light glazes over the top. I'm not going to do it all because this is going to be part of the lesson on Friday. And then the other thing you'll do as well, you can come in with, you start next as well then to start putting texture in. So you'll start putting flicky hair strokes in there as well. And of course any areas that you want to brighten will be coming in with our Chinese white as well in the drawing pencils. So that's kind of basically what we're doing. That's how I worked this area over here on the eye on Friday. So let me carry on just glazing. Then you know that there is a point to why I'm doing all of this. And say any questions anyone's got, please do pop them up in the chat. Now, let me see, where am I? So I've got this great big shape here, which is this shape here on my reference. So I know that I can glaze. I'm going to look at the angle again as well. So these fur strokes need to go up at that angle. So they're going up at that angle. It's always worth just double checking, especially if you're just starting out and you're a little bit unsure. It's best, let's say, just to check, because if you get that, if I started putting those lines down going across there, I would flatten the head of the tiger and it would look completely deformed. So you've just got to be really conscious of your angles and your lengths of your strokes. I'm keeping my pencil down on the paper for this because, like I say, all I'm doing is mapping in, hoping that's staying in the screen. Let me just come up here just in case. Okay, so now we come down around here. It's a little brighter in here. So mount board doesn't allow too many layers because it's very smooth. So as long I've got videos out there on pressure tests as well. So I'm using, on my pressure test scale, I'm using about a pressure 2, a 2 to 3, which is quite a light pressure. See how far up the pencil I'm holding it, loose. If I wanted to put lots of pressure on, I'd hold it right up here to be able to press hard, but I'm not. I just want it loose. So I'm just keeping an eye again. So the fur direction, let's have a look at it up here. If I lay it down, it's there. As it starts to come around this shape, it becomes here. And then as we come down the eye, it's almost like, you know, like a clock. So you could almost put that in the middle, and this goes up and around, and then as it comes around here, you can see it's like a central point here. This is the stop of the nose, and that's where the nose meets the skull. So this point here is always very, very important. This is where the fur almost all comes into it from the nose, especially on a cat, and then it comes up, and then it starts to curve away on either side, and then it will start coming down. It's just something you pick up on over time. And practice, but it's all about looking. You can pick this up straight away just by doing this laying down of your pencil technique to see the direction. And all of these just little tips, I repeat them over and over and over in the videos. I'm sure my guys get fed up of me, but then they say, all I can do is hear Lisa saying, do this, remember to do that. But it sinks in and it becomes second nature then. Until I started creating tutorials, and then sometimes watching them back, even though I hate watching myself and listening to myself back. Chat's gone quiet. I didn't realise quite how much theory I was putting into things, how many practices I kind of developed myself as well and were putting into practice. But it came naturally. I mean, it wasn't until, like I say, I started recording tutorials that I realised some of my own process. So it's not something I recommend, just sitting and recording, but say keeping photos of your work to keep track of your own process is a good thing to do. Okay, so we've kind of got a tiger coming to shape now. Now here's where it can get a little bit confusing coming down here, so I just need to concentrate too. Now there's that one, so this is going to be white, that one's going to be black, this one's going to be white, so let me just cut this one through here first of all. Make sure that you can still see this as well. I think you can, yeah. Right, so angle again as I come down here. It's going to curve around. By the time I get down to the eye, it's going to be at 8 o'clock, let's call it. And here, it's about between 9 and 10 o'clock on the clock. So here, it's about 9, 10 o'clock. It's going to start to change direction. And then as we get down to here, my lines are going down 8, 9, then up to 10 o'clock. If that makes sense. Okay, so back over to this one. And so we're going to soften a lot of this back. with our black. So it's going to be pretty much equal tone all over, because I'm just doing the same glaze all over just to map our tiger in. And then we will come in, like I showed you up here, with black to take it back darker, drawing white, Chinese white to lift and bump, and then we'll cut through and transition from the dark shadows into the lighter areas. I do like a push and pull from the shadows into the highlights. So I sort of push the shadows by using the black up into the highlights and then pull the highlights down into the shadows. It's a really quick method, really effective just for creating fur. Just keeping an eye on that angle all the time. This is a little bit boring really. It's not really showing you a huge amount of pencil skills today, but it's a way of showing you that not every pencil application needs to be meticulous. You know, I could come in here like this and just do every pencil stroke right from the start. You can if you like, but this just loosens you up and makes you relax, and that's the whole point of using this technique, is just enjoy it and let go of the tightness that we cause ourselves with colour pencils. Right, I'm just going to look at this angle here, because up here it's slightly less, so I just need to make sure that is going down at slightly the wrong angle, so let me just correct that myself. Hoping this is still in shot for you. Never boring watching, like relaxing and therapeutic. As long as I don't put you to sleep, Susie, that's fine. I was exhausted after Friday. I think it was just the stress of, obviously I was doing it out on Derwent's channel, so I didn't have a lot of control over the technical side of it. And watching it back afterwards, I can see my pencil slip there. Watching it back afterwards, the feed had dropped right at the beginning. You can see about 5 seconds in, the feed dropped. So all of my welcome to say who I was, and a big thank you to Derwent for sponsoring the event, etc., that was all gone. So I'm just using a putty rubber here to see if I can lift that off. It's not lifting off. I caught it with my pencil as I flipped it around. Just see where I thought I had my mono eraser to hand, but I can't see it. Is that it? I can see it. I've got pots everywhere at the moment. No, that's not my mono eraser, but that one should work. I've got my Derwent eraser there. So let me just lift that off. And it's a great thing as well with mount board. You can't damage it. It's smooth, so I can just erase that nice and firmly. There we go, it's lifted off most of it. Showing how to map out in a planned way with the angles and lines. I'm pretty sure you did exactly the same thing with yours, Harry. But yeah, it's kind of thinking about your application process the whole time. Even with this, you know, is a relatively quick foundation process using, you know, we're just mapping in these shapes, and it keeps it simple. Like I said, it keeps it simple in my mind. So I'll put this line in down the side. That'll give me an edge to work up to down there. There we go. Right, let's just see, make sure we're all up on screen and I can move everything around. I think you've got pretty much all of it in screen apart from this inch over here. Yep, you've got that bit there, that's fine. So I'm just going to, whilst I'm here, I might just go back in really gently and pop in a hint of those whisker lines. Obviously those that did the transfer, you know that I transferred with the coloured pencil on the back of my line drawing. So those of you that watched the transfer video, I just rubbed the colour pencil on the back of the line drawing and then used the stylus to press it through. You could deboss and actually just indent your lines if you wanted to, and then when you glaze with your pencil, it would skip right over the surface. That's what we're going to use the method down here on the nose. We're going to use lots of indentation and debossing down there. Whoops, wrong pencil. So yeah, keeping an eye on that reference. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Same pressure. I know, I think I'm going to go off screen now with you guys, but let me just map that in. Just want to get that edge done. And then a little bit up here. Just quickly, 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 quickly. There we go. You've not followed fur direction properly when I looked back. Can sort it though. Yeah, just one more glaze over the top, Harry. That'll correct that nice and easily. I know I've gone off camera there for you guys. I was just filling in that top corner there. So let me come back down now where you can see what I'm doing. So this is just going to connect up here now. That's fine. So this is going to be negative space. And what we'll do is, when I come back in, I'm looking at the moment at the white stripes. And just blocking those in. Now I can see, and what I do when I teach is I make mistakes on purpose. Honest. No, I do make mistakes on purpose, so then I can come in. So this shape here, can you see on mine, I've brought it down too low. So what I will do on the next one is I will come in and you can self-correct again. You'll come in and you'll self-correct to bring that shape back. You can do it by erasing, but I tend to do everything with my pencils. So when I work on pastel mat, I self-correct with my pencils on the next layer. I very, very, very rarely use an eraser. Might use a little bit of tape to lift off, but to be honest, I just correct with my pencils. Okay, so let's bring this down. This is where it's going to get confusing in a minute because it's very light in there as well. So let's come in over the eye. Probably not going to do the second eye today. I will get it done ahead of Fridays because I've already shown how to do the eye over here in the first session. So the tools are there to show how to do that. Okay, this comes across. This comes up here. So again, I'm not worrying about that texture at all. Simple, simple lay down and blocking. Like we colour block with our colours, this is exactly the same. We're blocking, all we're doing is just blocking the shapes. And making sure our lines and our pencils are going down in the direction of that fur, and it all just gives us a nice jump then when it comes to the next part of the task. But you can see it's starting to look like a tiger there, even though I haven't done a lot of work. So that needs to be darkened. So let's get this next shape which comes up here. And I expect everybody's tiger at the end of the 2 sessions to look completely different. They'll all look recognisable as having been worked from the same reference photo, but you're not going to put down your strokes the same as mine. Let's say you're using slightly different pencils, some of you, and the best thing is you're doing it in your own artistic style. Your own style will come through, and that's what I try to encourage with all of my tutorials. I love it when someone goes what I call off-piste, and they sort of literally take one of my tutorials and do it their own way. They start off using my palette of colours, and they bring in their own colours because they start to see more as they look harder at their reference. They might ad lib and put in a different background or change the expression on the animal a tiny little bit. Okay, I just want to show you something here. So we've got the bottom edge of the pupil there, and we've got that mapped in there. So when you want to line something up, I want to just come across. So that little bottom edge of that upper brow or inner eyelid is just there, and it lines up with the bottom of that pupil. So I just want to come across, and then we can work out from here to go up. Can you see that stripe is exactly straight up from there? It's just a really good thing. This is the other thing about having your reference printed out to the same size. Now, can you see I've brought that down too far? So let me just self-correct now whilst I can see it. So I'm just going to self-correct in there using my black. And then I can, oops, keep grabbing that and put that drawing away to one side. Okay, so that comes across there, and then I've got a really soft, got that black shape there, really soft layer coming up through here. So I'm looking at my black shapes now as well and trying to cut around them. So coming up here, I've got a black shape in here, and then I've got a stripe here, which comes up kind of to a point, and then that comes around on this side. So I've got a dark stripe there, and then this will be the next white stripe here. The dogs are being very good and very quiet. It must have been the treats that I bribed them with. I know people don't mind them barking, but Sherry, after watching you work with fur on this gorgeous fellow, I'm thinking I need to go back to my zebras. Same skills would be very helpful. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to draw some zebras. I was going through my photos. I have got some, but there's a specific pose I want to draw the zebras in, and I haven't managed to get that on camera yet. Maybe after lockdown, as maybe if I can get to the wildlife park at all this year, I can spend some time trying to get that pose. I managed to get it with the lions in the end. I had to wait hours to get it. I've got 2 of the African painted dogs, and of course I went to America and I managed to get that photo of that swimming polar bear, and I've got one of them swimming underwater that I want to draw as well. The problem is, once you get an idea in your head of the specific pose that you want to draw an animal in, and if you're like me, you want to take your own reference photos, it means then that you don't want to draw anything else, and I will wait years to get to until I get that reference photo and I know how I want to draw the zebra. So I might get the photo in the first 5 minutes of seeing the zebra next time, or it might take me 2 or 3 years. I might never get it, but I'll hang in there to make sure I get that right photo. Okay, I don't want to do too much more here because this is where I want to use the stylus for some work as well. So just soften that one. We've got a hint of a stripe there. I'm just focusing here, so if anyone's asking any questions, I'm apologise, but I'm just needing to just keep my eye on this to get things right. There we go. So I'm going to do a little light glaze up through there. Right, grab a mouthful of drink. I know it's not hugely busy in here today, and thank you for joining me, those of you that have. It was just literally, I only gave about a 20 minutes warning, I know. But I thought this way it's easier than me sitting down and recording the video and then having to edit the video and then post it up onto YouTube. That can take quite a lot of time for me to do. So this way, it means I've got the video done and I don't have to do any more work with the editing side of it. So it saves me a lot of time. Right, let me now move up. Not sure if I can move this across anymore because I'm using the mount board. Let's have a look. Just waiting for it to catch up. You've got Fab Photo 200 written permission from my friend. No, thanks Eileen. I've got photos from a couple of friends as well that are absolutely perfect. One day I might have to use them, but for the tutorials I like to use my own photos. I think too many people use the images off Pixabay, etc. for tutorials, and there's no guarantee with those images on Pixabay that permission's been granted from the photographer. I've got photographer friends that have had their images put onto Pixabay without their knowledge. Same as my artwork gets taken and used without my knowledge or permission. And then what's going to happen if you've used an image from somewhere like Pixabay and then the picture gets taken down because there was no permission? I understand what you're saying though, you've got written permission. I have used images obviously for my own personal artwork like the foxes and other images I've used from a friend in Holland who takes the photos for me, and also in America, but I would only do that for my own personal use. But thank you very much. I can't wait to see what you use as well. Aha, I can see Sherry and Eileen having a conversation there about that. Right, I can see now what's up on screen. So let's just map in the rest of this now. So I'm going to leave all of this. So this is all about the negative space. I will be popping a super light glaze in here once I've stippled the area with the stylus, but for now I'm going to miss all of that chunk out. I'll put in probably this little stripe around the mouth, but I'm just going to literally get these lines in around here first of all, so make sure you can see on the screen. Wait for the camera to catch up. I hate these delays. There we go. Okay, so you can see across to there. Ah, that's pretty much, that's fine. Okay, so we've got this in here. So this will be the next. So I'm going to look at that angle again, see it's coming down. This here piece here I'm looking at, the angle is here, 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 here. So first lines can just go in quickly. I know we'll go off screen again. I bet those dogs, anyone who's been on my personal profile today, you'll have seen that the dogs were just excited because the sun was out and Mummy hadn't blown up their, well, my lounger. I've got a giant inflatable bed lounger, but the dogs seem to think it's theirs, and they were out there on it before I'd even inflated it today. So I better go down in a minute and they'll all be outside in the garden, working hard on their tans, huffing away. Okay, so this one comes up here. And we've got this stripe in here. Just taking my time a little bit more there. Okay. And then we've got a very light glaze in here. So some of this will be going down brighter than it actually is in the reference, but so we'll use that black to knock it back. And just by doing this, like I say, this just gives us a really good chance on that next session. Getting the tiger close to some kind of completion. I will have to go and look up Peter's work, if that's his surname. Peter Pichler? Pichler, yeah. You watch, I'll go on there now and I'll see. I'll probably see the exact pose that I'm looking for. So I'll be switching back over to my Inktense this week for the next couple of projects for my Patreon. Right, let me just get that ruler again. Where did I put it now? I'm guessing a little bit here, but I think we are about here. We are now. So that's my edge. Yeah, so we're going to be working Inktense. I've done lots of experimenting. I've just got my blocks to try out now. And then we'll be starting on a tiger. A different tiger. Using a loose but inky way over on Patreon. Peter Warne, member of my art group in Liverpool. Oh, okay. Just found out I find concentrating on my own work easier if you're speaking in the background, so I think I'll start popping you on full time. Go for it, Susan. Just put me on loop on YouTube and like help me have an income. I know some people do that. They just whack me on in the background, like as an extra window. Just mute me on YouTube, and like, you know, all the hours do add up, and I get a tiny bit of an income there in as well. So isn't that strange then? I know sometimes, like, you know, I've been working whilst another artist we run like a Zoom chat or something. So she'll be working at home in her studio and I'll be working in mine, and we just natter away. We don't have to look at each other. We're just talking and working, and that is really, really productive. But sadly, because I'm usually, everything that I draw is for a tutorial, I'm usually really restricted on having music on. Obviously I'm talking to camera, so I'm having to focus on what I'm saying all the time, so that does limit my my chat. What I'm going to do is literally the areas, there's a few areas that are slightly brighter white. I'm not coming in with the drawing white. I'm just going to go in with an extra boost, just one more layer, same pressure of the Pro Colour, just in a couple of areas there. It'll just make some of that pop a little bit more, just break up the tone a little bit more. You see, I'm not worrying too much, just... I think sometimes people panic, they've got this big blank space of paper. Just go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? The very, very worst is you hate it and you throw it away, but I always say don't throw anything away. There's always a lesson in each piece. But yeah, I know I can self-correct, and I know I can erase, so... There's no pressure. No pressure on this to be perfect. It is what it is. Okay. Let's have a look. Starting to look... It's quite good, this. It's quite nice to have that form of the tiger in place now. Let's pop this up here. Okay, so the last bit I'm going to do today, I have no idea of the time either. Let's have a quick look. We've only been here about an hour, which is what I guessed at. So the last bit I'm going to do is just pop a hint of this fur around this edge here. So let's come in and make some sense of our lines. Right, so we've got this up here, so I just need to catch up myself as to where I am, so I can line things up again, down from the eye into there, and that one comes there, so then this one comes around here. Okay, so that, again, looking at the direction of the fur, looking at the shape of the little black splodge in between the white stripes. That needs to come in, that goes in there, then this one comes in around here. A bit like dot to dot, we just need to make it all match up and meet up. Okay, so that comes around here. It's so therapeutic, it's kind of stress-free. Right, so coming around here. It's on screen, isn't it? I think so. Let's move forward just in case. Yeah, I think it's in screen shot. At least this way now I've got the whole structure of the tiger in place. Without, let's say, there's a tiger appeared, but I wasn't drawing a tiger. What I was doing is looking for my shapes and filling them in. This was a tiger that I photographed a few years ago at, I think we got to feed this one. There was 3 tigers. I'm sure this one was either called Stripe, original, or Vlad. I think it was Stripe. Okay, so that is as far as I'm going to go. Because all of this I want to deboss with my stylus. Yes, Darren, it's just mount board, black mount board. I think it's DrawAlong. Oh, what was it called? It was a DrawAlong black board. I've got. I don't know if it says on the back what one it was. But any black mount board will be absolutely fine. No, it doesn't say on the back. I thought there was something somewhere that said which black it was. But it's got a white core to it anyway. It's not a black. But it just works really well. I mean, I've always used in the past for my white on black pictures Somerset Velvet, which is fab, but it's really difficult for people to get hold of. Hence why I used black mount board for this project, because I thought it was unfair to use a paper that people would struggle to get hold of, especially for a big demonstration. Just going to finish drawing in. I usually have a set square for this, but it's downstairs. So I'm just going to give myself a little border there. Might have to straighten it up, and at least then I've got an edge all round. There we go. He's in a frame now. It looks a bit odd because he's got one good eye and one strange eye there. So let me just get rid of the reference photo there. Let's get rid of that one. I think someone's asked a question. Is there any chance of an uncropped view of the tiger? My paper is asking for more. As in the reference photo, Eileen. I'm not sure if I go through my reference photos, so they're from several years ago. I think this one I actually zoomed in, it was quite cropped anyway, the photo. I might have some pictures of her though that I took a little bit further back, which combined with this one would give you maybe the outside edge of the head with the same pose. You might be able to combine the two together. What do you watch online church in half an hour? And you popped up. I love watching you create and explain as you go along because it's very encouraging. I guess I better get with you this week on my tiger. Yeah, I mean, really, we did an hour and a half, so an hour's drawing probably from Friday and an hour today. So a couple of hours and you'll be ready to go on the session on Friday. It'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, Eileen, I'll have a look. I need to try and remember where those images are as well. They might not be on this PC. They might be somewhere else. I will have a look. And shout at me. Just remind me in the week if I forget. I won't do it today. Wasn't supposed to be working today. And I can already feel my voice is starting to go again now as well. I am struggling at the moment. I'm trying to balance, finally, life with health. So I'm trying to recognise when I'm feeling not so great. I'm trying to down tools. So I'll down tools in a second. Go and see those dogs and tell them what good doggies they've been for behaving and being quiet. And maybe try and get my spot on the bed in the garden. So thank you very much for joining me for that sort of random, quick, ad hoc Hi Carol hour. And those of you on Patreon, obviously I'll speak to you on there this week. I'll be putting out more reference photos, getting Inktense tutorials underway, and I've got the prep Inktense video to pop up on there. That's all on my drawing board at the back of the studio. Okay, so we shall call it quits there. Yeah, I caught myself by surprise today as well, Eileen. That's the best way to do. I tend to stress myself out if I plan these things, to be honest. So it's much easier coming on here and just doing something quick and ad hoc. So hopefully when I'm feeling well, I can just pop on for an hour and do something like this. Carol, you'll be able to join in or do the playback. All we've done is just worked our way around putting a glaze down ahead, ready for Friday's session again. Thank you, Cindy and Susan, Sherry. Yeah, getting there, Sherry. More good days than bad days. Right, so I just need to figure out how to end the video now, and I shall see you all again soon. Okay, so take care, and thank you very much for watching.